The Pittsburgh Steelers are the number 1 seed in the AFC North. So, usually I would make this type of video before game day covering the Pittsburgh Steelers matchup for the week. But since it's a bye week, I decided might as well just cover the bye week and give you all the knowledge that you need to know from around the league, the position the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the AFC, within their division, and just overall the landscape and how other things are looking. So, to start off, yes, even though it's hard to believe, the Steelers are the first seed in the AFC North as of right now. And looking at around the NFL, in the entire AFC, not just in their division, it shows the Pittsburgh Steelers are in third place in the entire AFC. Obviously, it's only 5 games in, and this week it'll be 6, but they're tied for third place in the AFC entire conference with the Jaguars, Colts, and Ravens. So they're in first place in their own division, but in third place in the AFC. And that's a good thing to be said, because even though the Steelers have been struggling, their offense has been struggling, their defense has kind of been up and down, whether or not they're going to play a good game or a bad game. But with that all being said, their record is still in the positive. They're still on a playoff run. Obviously, they're ahead of all the other AFC North teams at 3-2, and at least right now they're positive heading into this bye week, which is almost over. So, looking at the AFC North, like I said, the Steelers are 3-2, the Ravens are 3-2, the Browns are 2-2, the Bengals are 2-3. After this week, if the Ravens do win, they'll jump up to the number 1 spot, but that's only because the Steelers did play one less game than them. So if the Steelers win and then the Ravens lose another week, the Steelers would take back that number 1 spot. But as of right now, the Steelers are number 1. Looking at it from a landscape perspective, looking at it from other teams' point of view, the Ravens, their offense, yes, Lamar Jackson is a good quarterback. He's a good running quarterback. He's really their whole offense. But looking at the Ravens, they're the only team as of right now who are still on pace and know what they're doing as a team. Looking at the Browns are dealing with a lot right now, sitting there at 2-2. Deshaun Watson has a rotator cuff injury and is most likely going to miss still a few more weeks, and the Browns season is going to be tanking because of that. The Browns are going to have to start a poor quarterback who's not really a starter in this league, and the Browns just don't look good as a whole. They're dealing with a lot of injuries as well. As you all know, Nick Chubb went down with injury, and he's basically their whole offense, running the ball and even out of the backfield this year. So Browns, they just don't look like they're going to be a good team this season, and it looks like their record shows that in 2-2. Like I said, it's still early on, but their season is really hanging on by injuries. Looking at the Bengals started off poorly. They started off losing, but then they won the last 2 games, and it looks like that's what they did last season as well. They lost the first 3 games of the regular season, but then they won the next 2. And Joe Burrow started off really poorly, but he had a calf injury, a calf strain, and he couldn't really put too much running ability onto that leg. But ever since the first 3 weeks, he looks as though he's getting a little bit better, putting up more production on the field in terms of yardage, in terms of scrambling to find a wide receiver, and getting touchdowns on the field. So it looks like he's going to be a little bit back to normal, but obviously you can't fully heal from a calf strain if you're still playing on it every Sunday, running around for 60 plus plays. So obviously he's still going to have to deal with that from the majority of the season, but the Bengals look to be a little bit back, not entirely back, but their record is still 2-3. We seen them do this last year where they end up winning the AFC North after starting off a very poor season. But as of right now, the Steelers team, that may just cover them. Like I said, their defense is up and down. You don't know if it's going to be a good game, a bad game, whether they're going to get sacks or not, whether they're going to get turnovers or not. The offense, you don't know whether they're going to score more than 10 points or they're not going to score more than 10 points. This seems like they can't score more than 10 points, but that's a different story. But the Steelers, they're ahead of the AFC North. The other teams in the AFC, I'm not going to cover every single team, but obviously the main teams like the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, The Jaguars, all those teams seem to have a good record, seem to be on a good pace, but the Steelers are right there with them. With all the struggles I named from the Steelers, they're right there. They're in the first place in the AFC North. They're in third place, tied for third place in the AFC Conference, and they're right there in playoff territory. And if they just continue on smooth sailing the rest of the way, they should be good because there's not one team as of right now who looks super dominant. I know the Chiefs are 5-1. I know the Dolphins are 4-1. I know the Bills are 3-2. But it's not one team that looks super dominant as of right now. But obviously, it's still early in the season. I keep saying that it's early in the season, even though no one looks too dominant, especially all together as a whole football team. Miami looks dominant on offense, but their defense struggles. Bills look dominant, but then they struggle as well to put up points. Chiefs, you don't know whether their offense is going to break over 30 plus or they're going to be held to under 20. So no team looks dominant as a whole as of right now. And the Steelers, they still have time to get everything together. The Steelers, as you all know, looking at last season at the bye week, that's when they took off. If you remember, after that bye week, the Steelers went 7-2 down the stretch and were making a playoff push. They just missed the playoffs by like one team not winning the game. So the Steelers, they made that playoff push after the bye week last year, and Kenny Pickett started playing better. Matt Canada started calling better plays. The defense stepped up, not allowing more than 17 points after the bye week last season. So that's when they stepped up last season. That's when they made adjustments to their team. That's when the running game took off. That's when Najee Harris took off, if you remember. After the bye week, Najee Harris stepped up, and that's when he was able to produce after not producing the first half of the season. So even though the Steelers have an early bye week here in week 6, hopefully they're able to make some early adjustments and not miss the game playoffs by one game like last season. Hopefully having an early bye week is making the Steelers look at the team, look at the adjustments they need to make, and make the early adjustments so we could make the playoffs and we don't just miss it by one game again because of the late push. Hopefully it's an early push towards the playoffs and towards down the stretch. Make the adjustments now instead of waiting down the road. So with that being said, this is my review of the bye week of the Steelers week 6 bye week. Coming back in week 7, hopefully Steelers are able to produce off that bye week and they don't struggle and don't be rusty. But this is my overlook and landscape perspective of the AFC North division, the AFC conference as a whole, and the Steelers spot within all of it. Let me know down in the comments below, how do you feel about the Steelers spot as of right now, and how you feel about the Steelers being number 1 in AFC North and 3rd in the AFC Conference. Let me know your thoughts. And do you believe that they're going to be able to produce out of this bye week and take that step forward like they did last season after the bye week? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like Steelers content and analysis reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for the channel as well, so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video on the news, rumors, reports, highlights, analysis, game breakdowns, everything like that, reactions. I cover everything for Pittsburgh Steelers football, and I have been posting a video basically every single day since the off season. I cover everything, and if you want to stay in one spot for Steelers, this is a spot for it. And you don't want to have to read about Steelers news and you just want to have to sit back and listen to it, this is a spot for it. So turn notifications for the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.